muzzle looked on something shocking. Now heaven knows anything goes.
Wait, hold on. Anything goes? Isn't that what's been happening right here in America for some time now? So, how does that make you feel? After all, our country is a land of laws framed by our Constitution, is it not? So, you might be asking, what can I do? Well, welcome to COS Indiana Live, where we'll be discussing how to use the Constitution to save the Constitution. Our vision is to build a strong, engaged army of self-governing activists. Our mission statement is to restore self-governance by recruiting, training, and deploying citizen activists to engage in all levels of government. So, if you've had enough of anything goes, join us every Monday at 7 p.m. as our state director and host, Dale Parrish, will show you how we can actually make a difference by using the Constitution to save the Constitution and our country. And without any further ado, here's Dale.
Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Convention of States, COS Indiana Live. And as Maringo Mike was saying, I just want to, Maringo Mike was talking about, if there was anything else you wanted to do or you didn't know what else to do. Well, I want to tell you that many of you figured out what needed to be done, which is to join Convention of States. And because Convention of States is the solution as big as the problem. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank all of you that have made that decision and have joined us here in the state of Indiana in Convention of States, because we have just since the 1st of January, we've just seen an onslaught of new volunteers come in. And I just want to say thank you for making that decision, and thank you for joining us. But as Maringo Mike said, my name's Dale Parrish. I am the state director for Convention of States here in Indiana. We have a great broadcast lined up for you this evening. I just want to mention also, before we get started, that we are live streaming our broadcast tonight on our YouTube channel, COS Indiana. So now the broadcast normally comes through to you through our state Facebook page, Convention of States Indiana. But we're now also live streaming the broadcast through our YouTube channel, COS Indiana. So that's an alternative way to view the broadcast. Now, I might mention, if you are a YouTube viewer, to please hit that subscribe button, and so that you can get then notifications of upcoming postings that we do to that YouTube channel, because it is an educational resource, and I'll get into that a little bit later on in the broadcast. But we try to put a lot of stuff on the YouTube channel, so subscribing to the YouTube channel will pay off for you. So please do that. Let me briefly then go through the segments of our broadcast this evening, so you have an idea of what we're going to be talking about tonight. Now, in our first segment, I call it the interview segment. In this segment, for the most part, I try to bring on leadership individuals from here in Indiana. Now, as I mentioned, we've been getting an onslaught of new volunteers coming in to the state, and we very fortunately have gotten quite a few individuals volunteering to be district captains. Now, the district captain position is a very, very important and key position in our organization. So I've been trying my best to bring on new district captains that have come into our organization. And tonight we have another one of those new district captains. His name is Dale Tipton, district captain up in District 9. We'll be bringing Dale on here very, very soon. Dale was on our broadcast about a month ago, and we ran into a technical problem on the broadcast and had to terminate the whole broadcast. So I promised Dale that I would bring him back on. So we'll be bringing him on here very shortly and introduce you to Dale Tipton, one of our new district captains. Now, in the second segment, I call it the information segment. In this segment, I'll bring up my PowerPoint, and we'll briefly look at some of the information that I have for you about the state, how we're doing, what our objectives are. Plus, we'll also let you know what we have planned for next Monday's broadcast. So that'll be in the information segment. In the third segment, we'll try to recognize as best we can the viewer comments that we have this evening. So if you are viewing either through Facebook or through YouTube, and you would like to ask a question or make a comment, I can see we're already getting a few comments here. Please do so. Keep them very brief, as I'm limited to the number of characters that I can show. But I'll do my best. I'll try my best to show those comments on the broadcast. So that'll be the third segment. And the fourth segment is what I call the contributors segment. This is where we have certain individuals we've designated as COS Indiana Live contributors. And these are individuals that have pledged to provide me with pre-recorded brief comments, some opinions, some informational type contributions. So tonight we have another contribution from one of our regulars, John Ackerman. We call his contributions John's Journal. So I have a contribution from him tonight. Has to do with elections. So I think you're going to find it very, very interesting. So that'll be in our contributor segment. Now, in the final segment, I call it the invitation segment. This is where we're going to talk about what Convention of States is all about. And then I'm going to invite you to join Convention of States here in Indiana. And I'm going to show you how you go about doing that. So that will be in the final segment, with the segment we call the invitation segment. All right. Well, it's time now. Let's get into our first segment, the interview segment, and let me bring up this young man, Dale Tipton, and he's going to be popping up here. Hi, Dale.
Hello, how are you?
Good, good. As I said, I wanted to introduce you as another one of our new district captains. So we're very, very pleased to have Dale on board. So Dale, I've mentioned earlier that you're the new district captain in District 9 here in Indiana. We're organized for everyone. We're organized around House districts here in Indiana, and there are 100 of those districts across the state. Dale is the new district captain in Indiana House District number 9. Dale, give everyone a little idea of where your district is located in the state.
Sure, we're right at the tip of Lake Michigan, and encompass communities such as Chesterton, Michigan City, and Westville.
Okay. So up in the northwestern corner, basically, of the state, right?
Correct.
Okay, good. Well, I told Dale one of the things that I always ask of candidates or as of individuals that I interview, and that is to tell their COS story, the how, when, where they got involved in Convention of States. Not your life story, Dale, just your COS story. So, Dale, what's your COS story?
All right, thank you very much. I spent my work career with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, first in Chicago and then in Merrillville. And so, as a government employee, I kind of became interested in politics and that sort of things because it controlled the budget of the outfit that I worked for and a number of other things that kind of impacted what I did for a living. And so I just kind of became interested and started following it, during those years. And then subsequent to retirement, the interest kept up, and with everything that's kind of happened in the news lately, and subsequent to the last election, I was just more and more and more into it. And so, like a lot of people, I utilized Facebook as a news feed to kind of keep me up to date on what's going on from a number of different places that weren't like mainstream news. And one day, a feed popped up for Convention of States. Somebody had referred it to me or something. I'm not exactly sure how it showed up, but it just did. And I'd never heard of it before. And so I always make a habit to like the page and to go check it out, what's going on and everything. And so after I read a couple of paragraphs, I became curious and spent the day kind of researching it. And the same day, actually, went to the website, signed the petition, filled out an application that said I was ready, willing, and eager to help, and off we went.
Great, great. So you were an FBI agent, right?
That's correct.
And so you were chasing bad guys all around, and you covered pretty much the that region of the state.
Well, my first 10 years were in Chicago. And then
really?
Whenever I transferred to Indiana, I was 10 years in Chicago, 14 years in Indiana.
Oh.
And so basically where I'm living now and this whole Northwest region was my operational territory after I transferred to Merrillville.
Okay. All right. Very interesting. Okay. Well, great. All right. Then, Dale, I know all of our new district captains, I know they have objectives that they want to try to accomplish as new district captains. So you want to give us an idea of what some of your objectives are coming up?
Sure. Well, I mean, probably one of the more challenging ones as I look at it is developing a relationship with the area legislators that cover Indiana House District 9, and it's also covered by Indiana Senate District 4.
Yeah.
From what I can find out so far, there perhaps isn't a great deal of support for Convention of States at this point, and so I view it as kind of a personal challenge to educate those people as to how many of us are out here that support Convention of States that live within their district. Other than that, it's I guess kind of a recognition thing, spreading the word about Convention of States and what exactly goes on, and what our goals are. Because since I have been active just for this brief period of time since January, most people don't have a clue what Convention of States is or what it's about. They're unfamiliar with Article 5 of the Constitution, and sometimes even unfamiliar with some of the challenges that our country is facing. And so
right,
we have to do a little proselytizing about Article 5 out there and do what we can to spread the word.
I know you and I were talking about this, that it's really surprising when we're out talking to people. It just seems like very few people are familiar with Article 5 or familiar with the Constitution, really. So it is very surprising. Now, back on the legislator, just briefly, you've got some challenges there with your legislators. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've both been contacted numerous times and have yet to reply at this point. But I'm told that that's not uncommon, and persistence is the key.
There you go. Now, back on the Article 5 and talking to people about Article 5, it's just do you find though that even though they may not be familiar with it, but if you talk to them a little bit about it, they are interested in knowing about it. Do you feel that too? Do you see that too?
That is correct. I think that there's a general feeling that something needs to change. People are unaware about how to do it. And it's, I mean, once you start to explain the process about what Article 5 is all about, people are very interested, become very excited at times. and I'm looking forward to meeting with a few more people in person. With the COVID situation being what it has been, as you know, it's been difficult to meet, but we plan to get together with some of the folks in the area and to promote Convention of States. And I think if you gather in a coffee shop or a restaurant, library, or whatever, once they hear what the message is, they're very happy to kind of vent a little bit about what their frustration has been, and to hear that people are out there that are just like them, feeling the same things and offering a solution.
Right.
Is very inspirational to people.
Right. Right. All right. Good. Good. Well, I know you had mentioned another objective was you wanted to have some meetings, right?
That's correct. Whatever the form, meet and greets, anything that we can do, I think, to get people together, because although a lot of work can be done via Zoom and all of this other stuff, I think, looking people in the eyes and shaking hands and doing what you can to express yourself in person is, much more successful. I don't have anything against the online stuff. Obviously, we're doing it right now, but there's nothing really that beats, an eye-to-eye conversation.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Well, Dale, I like to kind of wrap everything up on the note of self-governance. And this is where, we encourage all of our leadership individuals we encourage everyone really, but especially our leadership individuals to get involved with your local government. And so I know you had mentioned to me some things that you're doing to take some steps in that direction. You want to tell everybody about that?
Sure. Well, as part of the district captain training through COS University, self-governance is one of the things that's talked about. And one of the things that I frankly have been very weak in my personal life is getting involved locally, to make an impact on what's going on. So after doing a little research, I live in Porter County, and I found out that they had a website and whatever. And so I filled out an application to become a precinct committeeman. I have been notified that application has been accepted, but it hasn't been acted on yet. So I'm just waiting to hear, but I'm hoping to get involved at that level so that I can have some direct input on what's happening within the county in which I live.
All right. Great, great. Well, good for you. Good for you, Dale. We've got a few comments here. We've got some people some new district captains. This is a new district captain, Debbie Mealy. I don't know that you've met her or not, but she's saying good evening to you. And another new district captain, Patrick Romack, is saying good evening. Lauren Baggett. Okay, I'm not sure if she's a new district captain or not, but good to see her on tonight. And Chad Sanders saying good evening to you. So got some people watching you tonight, Dale. So
we appreciate it.
All right. All right. Okay, I got some other comments here, but they're too long to put up. So anyway, Dale, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to tell everybody about yourself. And so I want to congratulate you on volunteering to be a district captain for us. It's a very, very important position, as you know, and I'm certain you're going to do a very good job for us. So thank you very much, Dale.
Yeah, and thank you. Thanks again for taking the risk on bringing me back with the technical difficulties last time. I'm just glad it worked out.
Well, so far so good. We're not finished yet, but at least we got through your part this time. So,
yeah.
All right.
Thanks again.
Have a good evening, Dale.
Yeah, my pleasure.
All right. Well, we made it through the interview this time without a technical problem. So. Again, thank you very much, Dale, for joining us tonight. All right. Well, I want to now move to our second segment, which is the information segment. And I'm going to bring up the PowerPoint. And in order for everyone to get a good view of the PowerPoint, I'm going to implement the slideshow option, hopefully. There you go. You should get a full view of the slides. So this will be much more helpful to you, I think, with this type of view. So anyway, let's get started. Our vision statement here in Indiana is the same as our national vision statement, and that's to build a strong, engaged army of self-governing activists. Now, our mission statement here in Indiana is to restore self-governance by recruiting, training, and deploying citizen activists to engage in all levels of government. So that's the Indiana mission statement. That's what we want to achieve, which will then bring us closer to achieving our vision statement. Now, we have certain objectives that we are trying to accomplish here in Indiana in 2021. We have about 56,000 supporters here in Indiana. We want to grow that to 70,000. We want to get some younger people involved in our organization. We have 9 regions across Indiana. We have the state divided into 9 regions. We currently have 4 region captains, and we want to grow that to 7. Okay. We have, like I mentioned earlier, we have 100 lower house districts across the state of Indiana. We have about 32 district captains in place right now. We want to grow that to 40 by the end of 2021. Want to develop and implement a call to action program. I'll be talking about that briefly here some more. We also want to develop and deliver an education program, and I'll be touching on that very shortly here too. So those are the objectives that we're trying to accomplish here in Indiana. Now, some resources to make you aware of that we have available to us. The first resource, the main one, is our national website, conventionofstates.com. This is our national website. You'll hear us make reference to this website frequently. Now, embedded in the national website is our state webpage, conventionofstates.com/Indiana. As I mentioned earlier, we're on social media, Facebook, Convention of States Indiana. That's our state page. The broadcast is coming to you through that state page. Now, we also have, as I mentioned earlier, our YouTube channel, COS Indiana, which we're live streaming the broadcast to. But now the YouTube channel is also very much an education resource. We have narrated PowerPoints. We have recordings of our broadcasts. We have links to a podcast that our legislative liaison, Paul Phillips, does called the Free to Be Free podcast. So whenever Paul does a podcast, we put a link on our YouTube channel so that you can easily access the podcast. It's very, very good, I might mention. I'm on Parler at D.O. Parish. Now, right now on Parler, we're only putting just our recordings of our broadcasts. So we'll be adding more material on that in the near future. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. So I also want to mention our state newsletter. Now, once you become a supporter and you opt into receiving emails from Convention of States, you will each month get an email containing our state newsletter. And folks, our state newsletter team, our team is just doing a great job on developing this newsletter. It's really a professional job, I think. And so you want to be looking out for our state newsletter. Okay. Some upcoming events to make you aware of. Well, I mentioned legislation. We have supported 3 pieces of legislation that has worked their way through the state legislature right now. House Bill 1123, disaster emergencies. The governor has vetoed that bill. It was approved. It came out of the House and Senate, but the governor vetoed it. So now the House and Senate is working on an override to his veto. So that one still looks very promising. The firearms House Bill 1369, that bill was pulled. So that one is not going to pass. House Bill 1384, Civics Education, that bill did pass. So that has become law, and that is very, very good. We're very much into education, and this bill will ensure that civics education will be in our public schools to some degree at least. Now, some other events coming up. A sporting goods store in Wabash, Indiana, Bass and Bucks, has hosted us actually to do a COS presentation last month, I believe it was. And they've asked us to come back probably in May. So be looking for that. We'll give you some information once we have it. We have a meet and greet coming up at the Hancock County Library in Greenfield, Indiana, coming up this Saturday, the 17th at 11 a.m. And that's being hosted by another one of our new district captains, Jill Jones, out of Greenfield. So if you are in that area and you can make it this coming Saturday, April 17th, 11 a.m., Hancock County Library. COS virtual roundtable meetings. We had one March 28th. We have another one planned for July 25th. I'll be giving you more information on that as time goes on. So got some events coming up, and you're going to see more events pop up here as we get into the spring and summertime months. Hopefully, there are going to be more communities that are returning to the county fair festival type environment and atmosphere. So as those types of events start popping up more and more, you'll be seeing Convention of States here. We'll be having a presence in the form of generally an information table type thing. So you'll be seeing us more and more in upcoming events. As far as next Monday, we're going to have our super volunteer, Debbie Stewart, will be on with us and will be presenting a civics lesson to us. Now, Debbie has been presenting chapters in constitutional literacy to us for some time now, but we're also going to have now Debbie present some civics lessons. Debbie is a homeschool teacher, and civics is one of the things that she teaches, as well as constitutional literacy. So we're getting the benefit of her experience here on COS Indiana Live. So Debbie Stewart next Monday evening, 7 o'clock. So you want to be sure and put that on your calendar. All right. Let me get back here to the main studio. So let's get into now the next segment, which is let me go through some of the comments here. See if there's some other comments. Looks like we've got some people conducting conversations with each other. So there'll be some chances maybe for some other comments here. All right. I want to now go into our next segment, which is the contributors segment, and I'm going to bring up John Ackerman and let you take a look at his segment this evening. So I think you're going to find this very interesting. Again, this is John's journal. So here we go.
John Ackerman again for Convention of States, Indiana. You know, one hot item in the news these days is the Georgia voter protection law, which was recently passed. One item in that law is the voter ID card. They say that it's racist. In the words of our current president, come on, man. What's racist about asking somebody to prove that they really are who they say they are? For the crying out loud, you need a photo ID to drive a car, to get on an airplane, to rent a car, to buy insurance, to cash a check, to open a bank account, to go to court, to get a prescription, to donate blood, to get a lab test in a hospital. Photo ID cards are the way we prove who we are, who we say we are. And if we want to protect the franchise and make sure that every vote counts, we will use photo IDs to identify ourselves at the polling place.
All right, John's Journal, John Ackerman. I thought you might find that interesting. John's got some strong opinions on things, so good for him. Good for him. Couple more comments that I wanted to bring up here. I mentioned that Patrick Romack is one of our new district captains, which he is. But I also wanted to point out, and I'm trying to find his comment here, that he wanted to be sure that to everyone to know that he's also one of our grassroots coordinators. So he's working with George Ward, our senior grassroots coordinator, and doing a fine job helping out with George on helping out on this the tremendous influx of individuals coming into our organization. So George needed the help, and Patrick's lending a very, very good hand. So thank you very much, Patrick. Let me see what else I got here. So, of course, George, our grassroots coordinator, says, "Great job, Dale and Dale." George is, thank you, George, for that. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right. I saw another comment here that I wanted to, someone had, I believe it was Laureen. Yes. Lauren, is it Laureen or Lauren? I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Who writes the materials for the civics education curriculum? I don't know, quite honestly. When Debbie comes on next week, we'll ask her to indicate that to us. I probably should know that, but I don't know that. We'll ask Debbie next week when she comes on. All right. So I think that's it for the comments. I want to get into now the invitation segment, the final segment. Now I'm going to bring up another video for you to view. Now I mentioned that this is some of the people that you'll see pictured in this video are somewhat dated, but the information and the message in the video is not dated. It is as current today as it was when this video was made. And I think it'll give you for those of you that are just now being introduced to Convention of States, this will give you a better idea of what we're about and what the process is all about in Article 5. So hopefully you will find this very interesting. It's not too long, so be back very shortly here. Let me bring this up. All right, here we go.
The United States Constitution was written to form a more perfect union that would enable checks and balances to prevent a bloody revolution from being a necessary measure to abolish tyranny. Excellent though it was, Colonel George Mason feared the national government might one day end in a tyrannical aristocracy. The rights of the people needed to be secured against potential corruption at the national level. One of the solutions the framers decided upon can be found in Article 5, which gives state legislators the authority to call a convention that bypasses federal legislators to amend the Constitution. That gives we the people the opportunity to make some long overdue structural adjustments. Maybe term limits would be a good place to start. Here's how the process works. Citizens request their state legislators to pass a bill called an application, with operative language identical in each state. These legislators of the states then pass the application. Generally, only a simple majority is needed. Congress shall, by law, call a convention of the states as soon as it receives applications from 2/3 of the state legislatures. That's 34 states. Delegates chosen by the state legislatures attend the convention. Each state only gets one vote at the convention, but they can send as many delegates to represent the state as they so choose. Amendments are proposed, debated, and voted upon at the convention. Finally, ratification takes place in the states. Each amendment must be ratified by 3/4 of the states in order to become part of the U.S. Constitution. But what about a runaway convention? Let's get a reality check. Like constitutional law scholar Robert G. Nadelson says, there are far more political and legal constraints on a runaway convention than on a runaway Congress. The convention delegates, also called commissioners, are bound to the will of their state legislatures. If they don't vote as their states demand, they get recalled. They might even get sent to prison. Furthermore, a full 3/4 of the state legislatures, we're talking 38 state legislatures, must ratify each and every amendment in order for it to become part of the U.S. Constitution. Even Alexander Hamilton and Abraham Lincoln, who favored national government, emphasized that Article 5 gives states authority over the national government. Hamilton writes that national rulers have no option upon the subject. The words of Article 5 are peremptory. The Congress shall call a convention. And Lincoln says the convention mode seems preferable in that it allows amendments to originate with the people themselves. Article 5 Convention of the States is a safe route to stopping federal overreach. Civilizations rise and fall. Let's be a civilization that saw the cycle of collapse coming and broke it.
All right. Well, hopefully that will give you a little better understanding of what Convention of States is all about. So I also want to mention that another thing that we are very much involved in is that of self-governance. And if you recall in my interview with Dale Tipton, we ended his interview on that note of self-governance. So that's very important to us, and that's all part of the process of being involved and getting involved in your local, not only federal government, but state government, county, city, local community, at whatever level is of interest to you to get involved. That's what we the people really is all about. Now, if you want to join Convention of States, and if you want to join here, Convention of States in Indiana, which I hope that you're the target audience, I might mention you're the individuals that we're trying to reach here. Go to that national website, conventionofstates.com, and open an account, sign the petition, and that step alone makes you a supporter of Convention of States. And that's a very, very important step. And becoming a supporter is very, very important. Now, if you have some time and if you have a desire to get more involved than at the supporter level, then click on the menu selection at the top of the website. It says Take Action. Scroll down to where it says Become a Leader and look at the different volunteer positions that we have available. If one's of interest to you, open it up, read about it. And if you're very interested in it, go ahead and make application for it. Now, don't worry, you're not obligated in any way. But what that does then is your name comes up on a report that I see as well as a few others. every day, and one of us then will be in contact with you to further discuss that position to you. Now, please note now that on some of these positions, very little additional time is required, but other positions there will be more time involved. So you're the only one that knows just how much time you have to devote to Convention of States. But whatever time that might be, we would love to have you get involved in our movement. So I hope that you are someone that's interested in doing this, that wants to get involved, wants to take some action in our country. If you have any questions about this, feel free to drop me an email, dale.parish@cosaction.com. Feel free to shoot me an email, and I'll get back to you or get someone to get back to you. So feel free to drop that email to me. And I just want to wrap things up here this evening. I know I'm going a little bit longer than what we normally do here, but I just want to wrap it up on this note, that be aware and just know, please, that when you join us, you're joining a movement that's going to make history. And Article 5, now Convention of States is a problem-solving process that has been used throughout history. Back in the day when multiple colonies, multiple states had shared a problem, they would call a Convention of States to come together and work on that problem. We would call that a task force in today's language. So that's where the term Convention of States comes. So Convention of States have been utilized throughout history, but there's never been an Article 5 Convention of States for the purpose of proposing amendments to the Constitution. So, folks, we're going to make history. And when this happens, and it will happen, we need to get 34 states to sign on to make this happen. We've got 15 right now. We're going to be adding more to that list this year, before this year is out. So we're going to make history when we make this happen. So please be aware of that you're joining a movement that's going to be historical. So with that, I'm going to say goodnight to everyone. Be sure to put us on your calendar for next Monday evening at 7 p.m. And we'll do this again. And we're going to have Debbie Stewart coming on, give us a civics lesson. So that should be very, very interesting. So once again, Convention of States, Indiana, thank you for tuning in. Have a good evening. Good night, everyone.